What's up? This is Levi from Miss May I, and you're watching RichardMetalFan.
So what's up, guys? I'm here at the Buckhead Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm here talking with Levi Benton from Miss May I. How are you doing, Levi?
Good, man. This tour's been crazy.
Yeah, so basically I want to talk about like your musical journey from where you started to now, and also do a quick rundown of the catalog. But I'm just curious, before we go into that, what were the first bands that got you into metal, and what made you want to be a vocalist?
Oh man, like metal wise, well, it's funny because we started when we started just covering songs. We weren't really like writing our own music, and at the time, this will like date me with MySpace stuff. It was like Hawthorne Heights and like Taking Back Sunday. Then we got in like Under Oath, and we're like, okay, there's some heaviness. And then what really got us into metal was like the As Lay Dyings, the like All Shall Perish.
Ooh, very All Shall Perish.
As
totally
Blood Runs Black. Yeah, like
a very underrated band.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the bands.
Need to bring them back.
Exactly. Those are the ones that got us like into what we play now. So
yeah. And were you any bands before starting up Miss May, or was Miss May your first band?
First band. This was our first band. Yeah.
How'd you get to know like Ryan and all the other guys?
So Ryan's the only one we didn't go to school with. All of the other guys, we were all in the same grade, just high school buddies that were in the same music, and we like played through high school. And then Ryan was actually, he lived a couple cities over, and he was just a really good bass player, which is hard to find. So we sort of stole him from another band, and he has been in our band. And he was the only one over 18 at the time, so we needed somebody older in the band.
Yeah, and then your first like demo was called Vows for a Massacre. How did that whole recorded? You could thank Wikipedia for that shit.
How'd that get recorded?
Yeah.
Oh, so that at the time, it was at this place called, what's it called? Burning Bridge Studio. And do you remember like Top 4 Cowboys' first album, Doom?
Yeah, the Doom EP. Like that's a sick EP.
Exactly. So they did that at this place called Burning Bridge Studio in Indiana, and we like found it on MySpace, and that's where we recorded Vows for Massacre because they did Doom. So we actually just went to that studio.
Yeah. And then of course you've like toured for a little bit, played shows, but then how did Rise find you guys?
So we sort of just had like a viral, I guess before viral was viral on MySpace. It just like we released this cover and it went like hundreds of thousands of plays a day overnight, and like after that happened, a bunch of labels were just messaging us, and Rise are the guys that we're working with, the Devil Wears Prada. They were with Rise at the time, so they were like, it just made sense to sort of just keep it in the family, and we sort of used the same team and helped each other build the band.
Yeah, and then of course you released your debut album in 2009, Apologies Are for the Weak. Like, how did that whole recording process for that?
Oh man, that one was crazy because we were in school doing it. So we would and the studio was like 2 hours away. So we would finish a normal day of school, drive to the studio, record till like 5 in the morning. And then whoever was sleeping would take the shift to drive us back to high school.
Oh, wow. And
then we just go to school, and then we did that for that album. So that album was actually really wild because of that. And then it was right before the end of our senior year. Because we had to get the album done before we graduated, because right when we graduated, we were going on our first tour.
Yeah, what was that first tour like?
It was crazy because we only played on the weekends before that. So I was only used to like 3 shows tops, and then I get the week off. Yeah. And then it was like 40 shows straight. So like I blew my voice out the first week. I had to like learn how to warm up and take care of myself because I just did not know what we were doing.
Yeah, and then of course the next album was Monument. Like, of course, with your debut album, you have like your entire life to write it. Did you felt like pressure to follow up Apologies Are for the Weak?
Oh yeah, it's terrifying. But also you learn so much from your first time touring. Like you just learn like crowd response and what fans like to see. Because on your first album you don't really know that because you're only playing like weekend warrior shows. So to know sort of what fans are looking for, what they like of those other songs, has sort of helped Monument really just be like a live album.
Yeah, and of course last time I saw you guys, you played that album in full. What was that whole thing like?
That was a blast because there's so many songs on the album we never get to play. Yeah. So it was fun.
And you did like the deluxe edition, which was fucking awesome.
Rust and everything.
I remember even meeting you before show at the VIP, and I thought for sure you were going to be a tall dude, but you're like almost the same height as me.
I know everyone, you would be surprised. I get that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but then going to the next album, At Heart, what was that like going from Monument to At Heart?
That was really crazy because that was like when the radio started caring about us and like bigger caliber bands started caring about us. So that's like when Kill Switch was offering us tours and like As Lay Dying and Trivium. Like when those kind of bands gave us
hell of bands to go tour with.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and Bull from Out of Time. Like those bands were giving us recognition. So that made At Heart. So we had to sort of step up our game and be like, okay, like how can we turn it up a little bit, because now we're going to be playing bigger shows, let's bring more to the table. So that one, I think that was the most pressure we've had, was At Heart for sure.
All right, and this year is also the 10-year anniversary of
I
At
know.
Heart. And I'm pretty sure I know the question, but I'll ask anyway. Is there a chance we can get a celebration of that album somehow?
I hope.
I mean, if you could do
Right
it
now, it's not in the books, but we hope.
Yeah. I mean, if you could do it for Monument, you can do it for At Heart.
I know. I would love to do it for At Heart. It was the toss-up of if the world was going to open or not. That's why we didn't know.
But let's hope so.
Yes.
You'll probably tell me off camera. But then going to the next album, Rise of the Lion, I think it's a pretty underrated album. Like, nobody really talks about that one.
I appreciate that. Yeah. That one was that one's hard to
like
explain.
radio friendly-ish. It kind of sounds like
it was our very radio. So that was our one that we took a swing at radio, and we were doing a lot of radio festivals. So that was how I was talking about the recognition. That album was the recognition of playing European festivals, radio festivals, playing with Avenged Sevenfold and Korn, and you're playing with these Five Finger Death Punch. So we're playing with those kind of bands. So that album we needed to sort of push an album of Miss May I to sort of fit within that recognition.
Yeah.
And that's what Rise of the Lion was. But that album doesn't get talked about a lot because I honestly think it was a fun album, man. We did it with Terry Date. He did all the Pantera albums. We did it.
Hell
it was sick. That album doesn't get talked about because I think it just wasn't the sound. I don't know. It just wasn't as Miss May I as I think we could be.
Yeah, and then the next album, Deathless. Quick turnaround from Rise of the Lion. Did you started writing Deathless after Rise of the Lion came out?
Yeah, because it sort of, like I said, it didn't feel right. We wanted sort of to go back to our heavy roots. What's just natural to us.
Yeah, and I think it fits for you guys definitely.
Yeah, so that's why Deathless came out so quick. Because right when we released Rise of the Lion, we just instantly felt like it didn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could just feel it in your gut. You're like, this isn't right.
Yeah, and I've heard it. I thought that was you guys' best album to date at that time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but then going to the last album, Shadows Inside, I thought it was a really great album. What was that like following up Deathless?
Well, that was a little nerve-wracking because we're so late in our career. So, Shadows Inside, we sort of just needed to prove to people that we still can be like Miss May I, but completely turned up and turned to 11. What can we bring that we've been bringing over a decade, but better? Then that album was different too because with that thought process, we also just extended our studio time. We brought in more producers because we're if we're gonna make it better, let's spend more time in studio. Let's change the playbook. So that album took 3 months, took two producers. It took a lot of stuff, and then I think it came out just awesome.
Yeah, and I know this year you just released a new single on Concord. Is that a good representation of what we were expecting for a follow-up to Shadows Inside? It's gonna sound or is that just kind of a one-off kind of thing?
Oh no, it's the follow-up. Dude, the new stuff's sick. Right. It's so sick.
And being as this is the first new taste of Miss May I since 2017, is this almost kind of a direct follow-up, or is it just a new beginning for the band in a way?
I think I don't think a new beginning. I think it's just a fresh beginning. Yeah, it's not new. It's just we're awake. We sort of took the whole pandemic off to just enjoy ourselves, rest, and we've been touring for 10 years. We just took the break and worked on this album and sort of worked on just home Miss May I stuff, which was nice.
Yeah, and was there a preconceived idea of making this album, or is there a lot of experimentation or trial and error involved?
Ooh. You're making me say too much. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
No, this one, this is the first album I think I can honestly say we're trying to beat anybody else, and I think you can really hear that.
All right. And kind of going into your live show, is there a similar energy to playing live as to post-recording, or they're kind of two separate entities?
Way different. I wish I could channel the live show live, in the studio. It's so hard. I run around, jump around, but no, nothing's as good as a live show.
Right, and I know you play with a variety of different bands. I know you played with Cannibal Corpse. I know you played with Amity Affliction, and then of course you played with We Came as Romans. Do you ever notice a different crowd reaction depending on the tours that you're on?
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's to me half the battle of the live show is just that I have to read the crowd because a lot of the stage bands are we're a really live oriented band. So that conversation that I have to have and sort of reading the crowd and getting them amped up, it definitely changes based on the bands we play with. And I have to just I strike out sometimes, believe me, but I try my best.
Awesome. And as a vocalist, do you need to hear music in order to come up with lyrics, or do you usually have like a lyrical concept in mind that can help determine the outcome of the music itself?
I do the opposite. I listen to music first, and then hear. Like I vibe off what the instruments are telling me, and then I write the lyrics.
All right. And are your lyrics open to interpretation, or do you try to engage the listener into what the songs are about?
Completely open interpretation, for sure.
All right, and being as you and Ryan sing together, do both of you have to be like on the same mind frame emotionally, or just one come up with lyrics, or one has to adjust their voice to that? When it comes to you two singing together, how do you make it so it's a level playing field in the song?
We write those parts together. So like when there's a singing part, Ryan writes like his vocal part, and he sort of channels what the song's about, and vice versa. Like if Ryan's like, hey, if you can add that in, I sort of write my part and channel it in.
Right. Have you ever gotten into arguments like, I want to sing this part or I want to scream this part?
No, if that ever happens, we sort of A/B them. We'll try both and just listen, and whoever shoots the best.
All right, I got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like going back in the songwriting because I love asking artists this. How do you know when a song is done?
Oh, okay. Honestly, when the studio time's over.
That's like the best question.
Yeah, that's it.
The final question I want to ask you is actually a fan question. I want to bring my friend Daniel here to ask a question. What do you want to ask Daniel?
Out of all your releases, which album is considered your best, in your opinion?
Oh, man, Shadows Inside. I would say. Just because it's the most well-rounded.
Okay. What's your least favorite album of your entire discography?
Man. It'd be Rise of the Lion.
Yeah. Justin said the same thing, too.
Yeah. Not that I don't... yeah.
Would you consider playing songs from that album ever again?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you have none tonight, I can see.
Yeah, none on this album. We haven't played them in a while just because, we're trying to change focus a little bit.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Of course, man.
I got plenty more questions to ask you, but I can't ask them.
Oh, no. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're good. And so before we go, I just want to thank you for this interview. Just anything else with Miss May I that you would like to promote in terms of like tours and new music and stuff? Yeah, we have a lot of new stuff coming. There's a lot more than Unconquered coming. Those 5 years. Oh. Yeah.
One sec.
Crazy shit happening in Atlanta, guys.
It's Atlanta.
Yeah. Hot Atlanta. It's hot as fuck outside.
But basically, we have a lot more. Like I said, we took that time off. We're working on stuff. So Unconquered's just the tip of the iceberg. MissMayImusic.com. You can find everything there.
Awesome. So everyone, Levi from Miss May I. We'll see you next time.